starts with, neuro inclusion. There's the term like that.
Okay.
So when we talk about an individual, one person, okay, so that person will be called, whether that person has ADHD or whatever, five, six type of neural issue disorders they have, then the person is called as neurotypical.
Okay.
Okay. But when we talk about a population, then it is called as neurodiversity.
Okay.
So your neurodiversity can have a combination of autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dysphoria, or other learning disorder, or any one of them. Whereas neurotypical is one person who may have neurodiversity, may have ADHD, or both or combination. So when I am referring to one person, I will not say the person is neurodivergent or
Okay.
the person is uh, uh, is neurodiverse.
Okay.
I will address that person very clearly, stating that the person is neurotypical.
Okay.
I will not call you that you are neurodiverse. That will be wrong because you are not a population. You are
Yes,
an
yes.
individual.
Was PG College. Dr. Phillora's expertise extends into the field of neurodiversity, which we'll be going into depths of it today. He's also working on how neuromarketing and neurodivergent people can come together and how it can be made to work together. We'll get to know a lot more about it today. He has made significant contributions, including presentations at esteemed conferences such as the IAE World Congress and the GRC 24 conference at King's College, Cambridge University. His pioneering research on topics like coffee badging and neurotypicality in the era of AI has garnered widespread recognition, which we'll get to know a little more about today in this episode. And he Hello, everyone, and welcome back to M Square Podcast. Today, we have with us a very special guest, Dr. Amit Phillora, and we are very pleased to have him. So, please welcome Dr. Amit Phillora, who is a seasoned professional with around 15 years of experience as an author, counseling psychologist, subject matter expert, and he's a poet too. So, he's currently serving as a senior specialist in one of the leading MNCs, and he excels in handling escalations and providing support. He also holds certifications in project management and mental health counseling, among others, and he has delivered lectures at prestigious institutions such as the Aurora's PG College. Dr. Phillora's expertise extends into the field of neurodiversity, which we'll be going into depths of it today. He's also working on how neuromarketing and neurodivergent people can come together and how it can be made to work together. We'll get to know a lot more about it today. He has made significant contributions, including presentations at esteemed conferences such as the IAE World Congress and the GRC 24 conference at King's College, Cambridge University. His pioneering research on topics like coffee badging and neurotypicality in the era of AI has garnered widespread recognition, which we'll get to know a little more about today in this episode. And he underscores his commitment to innovation and neurodivergent initiatives. Today, we are going to learn a lot more about what is neurodiversity, how can we find out if you're a neurodivergent person and what all is a part of it. So, Dr. Phillora, welcome to the show. Really pleased and excited to have you here with us. And it's really a pleasure to have you with us today.
Thank you, Anurag. That's a
Yeah.
wonderful description, and I'm pleased and I'm honored that I'm getting such a wonderful platform to share my certain things which I feel that society needs. That's the certain things we will be discussing, which will help many people in learning this different aspects of their lives.
True. So, sir, so Dr. Phillora, I want to understand from you, how did your journey start? So, like as a kid, like, you were curious, as we were talking before the shooting started. You told me that you are a researcher and you are very keen on researching the new topics that come across and you're doing your own research. Like this curiosity existed while you were a kid, or how did it came upon to you? To learn about topics that nobody is even started talking about. So, how did it start for you? How was your childhood like? And if you can just share some stories with us.
So I see that every journey, every story starts from your home. So I come from a very educated family. My father was an Air Force officer. My mother was a senior psychologist. So I've been in an area where I saw researches, technicality, and my family is full of doctors. So
Okay.
I grew up in learning. My first teacher, or I can say the inspiration which I always look up to, is my father. So he is a IIT topper throughout the time, merit holder. He has done a lot of work in emotion intelligence related stuff. And when I used to see, growing as a kid, doing wonders in uh, one of the most reputed defense forces, it always used to inspire me that I should be also be interested in doing something like that. So the first project which I was able to independently pull up when I was 17 years old, which was related to precision approach radar in 1996 or 7. From
Okay.
97 to 2000, did that project continuously won Monday multiple of awards. And I was awarded with All India Science Exhibition Best Scholar Award in those particular years when I was doing my 10th to 12th. So that inspired me a lot when I saw and met many young fellows that they are doing so much good things across Bangalore, Chennai, Lucknow, at the age of say, 16 or 17, when you get exposed to such kind of, people who are doing something more than what is in the books. So that inspired me a lot because I saw that practical, not the book knowledge. Always believe that if you can get marks easily, you can pass, you can fail, but the practical examples which you said is the best thing. So that gave me a fire, that gave me a kick, and I started doing independent projects. Um, and started doing research papers. Initially, it was not easy. People used to, do not take it seriously because my age, my experience was very less in comparison to different people who are working. But today, the period is different. Young fellows are coming up with great ideas. You look yourself, you're so young, you're younger than me, far younger than me, and you have better opportunities and platform to present things over there. Over at that time, I wasn't having enough platforms. So a lot of groundwork and a lot of help and support from the seniors I used to get. And based on that, I started my journey. I lost your voice. I lost your voice.
Yeah, I think it
Yes.
should be there now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so like how you mentioned, like it was difficult when you started, and the precision radar I think was your first
Yes.
project that you took upon, and so and like as you mentioned, it was difficult back in the day to get the kind of resources and platforms to actually what do you say, like work on the research that you're doing. Like I would have would just like to know a little more in very brief about what was that precision radar study that you did? What was it about, if you remember? And if you can just, because
I
that's a
do.
very
I do.
intriguing topic. Yeah.
Yes. So precision approach radar. Have you been to airport ever?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So have you seen a small gadget, ATS sensor, where you see that
Yes, yes. On the top
uh,
of the ATC. Yeah.
yes, and it moves like this and that,
Yes, yeah.
right? So it is a radar which tells you that helps the ATC controller that what are the landing times, what is where the location of the aircraft is, and all.
Okay.
So there's a term called as azimuth. Azimuth is the angle when a plane is landing. So those kind of things I have designed, and with that we were able to predict where what is the right location of the aircraft would be, where it will be landing, the principles of aerodynamics, everything was there in that model where I studied. And a technograph was made, like an LED used to be when a flying model of a remote control aircraft used to be around that used to be right. Flight is around the
Hmm.
runway and the space should be cleared out, and at this particular angle the flight should be there so that a safe landing and proper landing should happen. So that's a very brief I can explain because it was a very vast project, and
Yeah, got
and
it.
I and it you will be surprised it was not made with very big fancy things. It was made with a plastic box,
Oh, wow.
a toy box, and LEDs and a normal circuit and a rubber band or those kind of things. It was made LEDs. It was made and a remote control aircraft was there to detect, and it was made from the least resources, zero money invested, and all broken toys.
Okay.
So it was like
So
that.
that's quite wonderful, like it shows that you do not need a large budget to do a lot of research, and and as Indians we're very good with making
And I was a
a
bio
best
student.
use of this.
I was a bio
Yeah.
student that
Oh,
time.
okay.
So maths I took it later on, but I was a bio student at
Okay.
that time. So, but I used to
Okay.
love these kind of things, and because as a child when I used to be in the base, we used to see these kind of things very frequently.
Yeah.
So when I designed this, I was in Bikaner at that time, and Bikaner was a place, defense place where these radars and all stuff was there. So I got an opportunity to see them very closely, and also when I was in Delhi, I got an opportunity to see the airport properly. So I could
Okay.
able to understand how things work, and now obviously the things have been changed. It is not that the way it was, but
Yes.
it was a very good experience, and it gave me the first platform to say that I'm something in science.
Got it. And I think that is so wonderful to hear, like with as like, as a young person with all those resources, you're fighting for each and every single thing, how to make sure, how to do this and how to do that. I think that would have been really wonderful experience. And I can see the smile on your face when you talk about it. Just shows, how much satisfaction that particular project might have given you back in the day.
So that was the first academic achievement I ever have got.
Yeah.
Else, I was a sports person. I was not into getting 100 out of 100. I was a
Okay.
mediocre person, but I had a keen to do something different for what books teach. I was never a book person.
Okay. So yeah, so I liked a lot about this. When you mentioned about initially also that it was easier to sorry, it was easier to get marks, and it was like so that gives a sort of, I think that is something where I relate to also. I've never believed in studying too much and getting too much marks. I've always believed in just being above average in terms of studies and exploring all the other things that are around you, and I think that works a little bit better for me in person. So yeah, so like going back to the story, sir. So I think that was a really wonderful start. I would say that curiousness to know and learn about new things has always been there, and like while we were discussing it before the interview also. So now we would like to like I would like to understand, sir, like how did your venture into neurodiversity, neuromarketing, and studying more about neurodivergent people begin? How did it all start for you?
So this all wonderful terms I got to know when I started working.
Okay.
When you come out of your school, college area, and I started. My first job was in Monster. So when I was in Monster, the Monster I used was a hardcore sales thing, and I had no clue or no nothing really inform how sales work kind of. I'm coming fresh from MBA and all that kind of. And none of the theories which were mentioned in the books were pressed. So my manager says that throw all the books into garbage. These books, books will not help you in getting a sale. To get a 200 rupees sale, I applied all the biggest theories, and it failed that I couldn't even sell a proper 200 rupees free ka database. Okay. So I said, okay, okay, fine. Book is good for having a knowledge, but you need to have a lot of practical. So I started studying more of psychology. So
Okay.
that was the first time I got to know there's something called as psychology also.
Okay.
So which we all study consumer behavior. You might be
Yes.
aware of
Yes.
that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of your
Yeah.
profile. For how their tones, how their voice, how their facial uh, expressions,
Expressions. Yeah.
how their what is their body language. When you start studying that, so that gives you an idea of DEI principle: diversity, equity, and inclusion. So
Okay.
when you start understanding you are dealing with a diversified population and have a target to reach, so you have to understand how you will be able to convince a person who does not need things from you. Have you seen Wolf of the Wall Street? There's a movie.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
there is a
Yeah.
very famous scene in every salesperson. That question is been asked. This is a pen. Sell a pen.
How
How
do
will
you
you
feel?
sell it? So
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio asked for this the same question from a B high-fi B school person
Yes.
and said that this is a pen. How will you say? They gave all Fury kind of. And then in the same question, the person asked by throwing a pen to his friend. This is a pen. Sell it to me. So he said, okay. Can I borrow a pen from you? He gives the pen.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay, I want you to write something down.
Yeah.
Okay,
Write your name
write
on
me
the
a
tissue.
pen.
Yeah.
I need a pen for that. Willing
Yeah.
to buy for that. Buy
Yeah.
for it. So to get something, so that's a very basic, normal thing that to have something, you have to create a need. When you have to create a need, you have to understand the ideology or what a person is needing. So when I started studying on that, I came across that there are different people who work in a different pattern. Okay, so I'm coming to the side of
Yeah.
neurodiversity. It was something very different from the things which I'm doing. It was inside the organization I started off,
Okay.
observing that, when I used to go to my colleague and ask for some kind of support. And the person used to be very nice and sweet. But when the person was working and I asked something from that, the person used to
True.
ignore. I that was my perspective as a normal layman person. But it wasn't. When I got to know the person a lot, I got to know that he's not ignoring me. It's something that he cannot process it. He can process something one thing at a time. Multiple things that person cannot do. That concept, when I got to know that, is called a sensory overload.
Okay.
So you have five senses: touch, smell, breathe, other light and all stuff. You have five senses, and if multiple senses comes to the person's, this the person cannot process it, and
Okay.
that leads to selective mutism, the condition which my friend was.
Okay.
I was asking for something, the person was not able to do that because the person was not able to deviate himself from that particular work and answer my. When
Got
I
it.
got to know that, okay, and then later on, when I did, after a couple of years, I did a test on that person. I got to know that the person has, mild autism.
Okay.
So that was the reason when I was asking something or other, he used to get mute. He used to get frustrated. He used to get, uncomfortable with that.
Okay.
In general, that person was very good. It was very good performer. But when additional tasks used to come, apart from whatever the main important thing was there, that person used to get disturbed,
Okay.
stressed. So I got to know that, okay, this is something new, which people are not, aware of. So
Okay.
I started, I didn't do study or something like that at the beginning because I was pursuing my PhD at that time, but I started, observing people a lot. Because in the psychology, teacher used to say, like, if you want to learn the basics of psychology, take in a crowded place and start reading people's face.
True. Yeah. So true.
Mark it down and
Yeah.
mark it down. You may be wrong, you may be right, and if a person is comfortable, ask confront that, do you mean this? Is this something, going at back of your mind, or something like that? And most of the time, initially, we used to make mistake, and then later on, we became so perfect that,
Yeah.
just like that, we used to catch. So I started studying more and more about neurodiversity, and then I got to know that there are people since 2014 who are working very hard to get these people hired in organizations,
Okay.
because that's one population which is very easily available. Easily available in the sense that they're comparatively cost effective than the
Okay.
normal you and I. The only challenges the organization had is the accessibility of database.
Okay.
Because in neurodivergent, I'm sorry, the neurotypical people have the power of non-disclosure statements.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're a neurotypical person, individual, it cannot call you in public as you are autistic or ADHD or any of that. You
So,
even have
I just wanted to understand what is a neurotypical person, or if you can just shed some light on
yes.
what is
So
neurodiversity, so
when
that it's easier
when
for us.
when the thing starts with neuro inclusion, there's the term like that.
Okay.
So when we talk about an individual, one person. So that person will be called whether the person has ADHD or whatever five six type of neural issue disorders they have. Then the person is called as neurotypical.
Okay.
Okay. But when we talk about a population, then it is called as neurodiversity.
Okay.
Your neurodiversity can have a combination of autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dysphoria, or other learning disorder, or any one of them. Whereas neurotypical is one person who may have neurodiversity, may have ADHD, or both or combination. So when I am referring to one person, I will not say the person is neurodivergent or
Okay.
the person is uh, uh, is neurodiverse.
Okay.
I will address that person very clearly, stating that the person is neurotypical.
Okay.
I will not call you that you are neurodiverse. That will be wrong because you are not a
Okay.
population. You are a
Yes. Yes. Got it.
individual. So when
Yeah.
we're referring to the population, it is neurodiverse, diverse or neurodiversity. When we're talking about one particular individual who has different disorders or different aspects of neurodiversity, then we will refer it to the neurotypical.
Okay.
And also we called it as atypical. Normal
Okay.
people are called as typical, and people who are neurodivergent, they are called as atypical or
Atypical. Okay.
neurotypical. ND,
Okay.
the whole sector. So
Okay.
that is a brief. And when you introduce a person, say, in a place where you have to introduce it to them, you have to introduce in keeping the laws in mind because there is a
Okay.
Disability Act, a 1990 Act, which is in UK. There is a different disability or incapability or mental health acts which you cannot use without the permission of these people. If they agree, even if you know about it, you cannot say it in public. That will be
Okay.
taken against. So you have to be very careful when you are addressing these people and what the terms you are using it because these people are extremely sensitive and they may or they may not like the way you introduce
Okay.
to them. So that's one thing. So we
Okay. So yeah. So now we understand between neurotypical and neurodiversity, and
to add on to that, I will also say that whenever organization like we introduce certain people that we have a neurotypical person has, we always use a word called as WASP. EAS. Want to note it down? You can you note it
VAS,
down.
VAS, right?
EASP, WASP, which
Okay.
means variable, attention, stimuli, and trait. So
Okay.
variable is your, how your body language and all stuff is there. Attention is what kind of attention level you grab or you want to have or expectations you have. Stimuli, like I said, sensory, how you react to your surrounding. And
Okay.
trait is your personality.
Okay.
So coming back to your previous thing, so when I started studying these kind of people, got to learn that there is the term, the first thing comes in your mind that who is the person who coined that, right?
Okay.
So I get to know that there was an Australian sociologist, Judith Singer, who was working a lot for autism and who has written a lot of things, who started working on that. I got to know that this is the person who introduced the term, but who made it famous was a different person. So introduction was done by something, and it was further. The term was coined in a famous blog or newspaper, which is called as Atlas. Sorry,
Okay.
Atlas. So, where this term was popularly used, and the one who used is Harvey Bloom.
Okay.
तो एक होता है ना जैसे डार्विन स्टोरी ने किसी जमाने में बना के छोड़ दी थी, and there was some other person
Mhm.
who brought make that theory famous. So
Yeah.
the concept of neurology and diversity blended form was introduced and coined by Judith Singer, but was made worldwide famous by Harvey Bloom.
Okay.
So, based on that, I started studying few books. There was a very famous book called as Neurodivergent Job Candidate, which was written by Joan Bofton.
Okay.
So I got to know interesting, facts that the organization started hiring such kind of people in 2013, March 2013 on.
Okay.
The biggest challenge they used to have is the Disclosure Act, which I told, because there was clause which restricted them to find a neurotypical person for hiring. Neurotypical person will not look like a very different person. That person
True.
is not an
Yeah.
alien. The person will look like exactly like us. And it was the US government had, because this was very famous in the US. So there was a database base called as PR database, PR system,
Okay.
where all the information related to autism or the very any kind of neurotypical person, their data. They say in our India we have employment exchange,
Yes.
or
Yes.
we have Janhis mental health people where they get registered. Like that in the US, they were having a VRS system where all information of all the population of neurodivergent was there. So, but it was not accessible to the employers
Okay.
because of the Disclosure Act. And then it was predicted that by end of, unfortunately, COVID came, but before coming COVID, it was predicted that each workforce will have at least 1% of neurodivergent population,
Okay.
neurodiverse population, sorry.
Okay.
So there was a target to have at least 1% working talent of these people in the organization. So they started working and they started facing a lot of problems. And at the same time, the neurotypicals were facing a lot of problems because they were not getting selected after rigorous hiring also by the organizations. Still, 85% of neurotypicals were unemployed.
Okay.
So they started doing different things. They started many magazines, forums, disability platforms. Still, they were not able to get enough people to work in the organization. And at the same time, the space status for the neurodiversity was coming, like there was 85% of people, autistic people, who were unemployed. 50% of people, sorry, not 50% of ADHD people were unemployed. 65% of dyslexic people were unemployed. Then there's another term called as dyspraxia. Nobody knew about that. So the about 65 to 50% of the people were unemployed in that. Then there was a study done of our generation, your generation, which is called as Gen Z generation. And a detailed study was done, and they found that half of the population agreed that they are neurodivergent. So
Okay.
they were born between 1997 to 2012. That's what the Gen Z population is about.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they found that 80% or half of them are have this condition in them. And out of that, when a survey for 18 to 25 people were done, age group people were done, and it was found that 22% agreed that they are neurotypical and they're part
Okay.
of neurodiversity community. And 31% people were not having a clue whether they are neurodivergent, they're neurotypical or they're not. They were in dilemma because there was no proper way to identify whether they have this condition or not. Because everyone do not run a psychometric test at their home,
True.
right?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you are doing very well in your studies, nobody will ask your credibility. These things will be neglected.
Yeah.
So they are a neurotypical person is just like you and me, whose IQ can be, gifted IQ, very good, or can be as dumb as a more normal, mentally retarded person. They
Okay.
come with a spatial cognitive differences. So cognitive differences is something like you're not comfortable with a particular color, odor, noise, crowd, even surrounding of some things. They are not aggressive, uncomfortability. These are kind of stuff is called as differences in that, and these are not a abnormal difference. They are normal people. So, for example, in an organization, if an autistic person is working, they are sensitive to crowd and voice. So,
Okay.
organizations design a noise-free headsets so that they do not listen to other things and they don't get panic and they focus on the work. And
Got it.
because when they get introduced to other stimuli, they get start getting panic attacks or other kind of things. ADHD person, you have no idea how anxiety will hit them. So those kind of devices or were given to them so that they focus on their work and they do not get panicated on that. So when I started studying and observing these kind of things, and I saw that most of these people are extremely intelligent and they are very good in tech. So
Okay.
many of
Okay.
these people you will find in IT sector.
Okay.
Many of them. So Asperger
And
was a person.
any particular reasons, sir, why they are good at tech?
It's not
Oh,
like that. They're good in tech for something. They're many very wonderful, artists also.
okay.
They create. You have two sets of mind, right? Two sides of one is data centric and second is visual one. So the
Yeah.
creative side of the autistic person or any of the neurotypical person is very good.
Okay.
You will find many of the autistic or anybody who is suffering for neurotypical, condition, they will be very good, either musician, they will be an instrument player, they will be an artist, people, they will be wonderful. I might have seen a movie called as Star as a Weekend.
Yes.
Right? There
Yes.
was a
Yeah.
kid in that and who was suffering for dyslexia. The person had a problem and had handwriting, but he was an excellent painter, wonderful painter.
Yeah.
So there are certain people like who are not good with mathematics. They're not good with numbers. They are not good with numbers, but they are good with different things. So these are small cognitive differences people who have them in that. Apart from that, they're perfectly normal, just you and I. And these
Okay.
are not something which can be discriminated on. That's what the diversity thinks. You're
Okay.
working diversity is equality in your task. You are working with these people when theological things are different, everything are different, and all keeping all those criteria, different criteria, putting all of them at seeing all of them with one eye, not any kind of favorism or any kind of these kind of things
Yes.
are there. So that's when I started studying about that, and I got to know that these people are very innocent and sweet people. They do not have any kind of um, you know things which like you or I might be doing in our life. They are simple people who are not they do not party much. They do not like crowd related things. For these people who are not a very social active people, it becomes very difficult to survive if they do not have anything to.
Okay.
Okay, so if for example I lose a job, you lose a job, and we are not getting a job, we just understand the level of anxiety or the problems we face. You
Yeah.
can double it or triple it the kind of anxiety they will be facing.
True.
So it is when you hire such kind of talent, neuro talent. This is called as neuro talent. When
Okay.
if you're hiring a autism person, it is called as autistic talent. If you're hiring a dyslexic person, dyslexic talent, like that, you use the word, and then the talent word is added in the end.
Okay.
It is look this up. So
Yeah.
when you're hiring these kind of people, you will always have understanding that you will get 100% of your result, productivity and quality.
Okay.
If you give them what exactly is needed, if you give them noise-free environment, stress-free environment, less crowded environment.
Mhm.
Some people are not comfortable, like you and I are talking. They're not comfortable in talking face to face. If chat box
Okay.
AI tools are, available, they're using that. Notepad books are available that way. They do not have
Yeah.
to interact with people direct. What organization need is the productivity and quality. So when you hire such kind of people with minimum resources, you get the best out.
Okay.
So, and also when every organization is indulged into any kind of a social activity which helps the society.
Okay.
So hiring them will help them paying their financial bills. Most of
Got
them,
it.
like you and I, have older people in their house, family responsibility, if many things are there. And due to poor awareness, they get neglected, they get rejected in interviews without getting, having a knowledge that why they're getting neglected. Many of the people, if you run a normal scan, you will find in one, 5 out of 20, you will find a ADHD person in IT
Oh,
sector
okay.
or any that
Okay.
the number is that, and you will not know that you have that, and you're doing fine. So
Yeah.
that gives you a clear picture that if you are neurotypical, you will perform your task very well until unless you do not have any hindrance or any kind of severe challenges in between.
Okay. Yeah.
So those kind of things had motivated me to have a design, and I see that many situations are on where AI is taking over the job markets, and lot of things coming on that drive promotions related things.
Yeah.
Drive promotion is something you promote a person without having a salary hike.
Got it. Yeah.
So I am in a world, I'm in a decision of making a model which, upskill these people without getting fired.
Okay.
So I'm studying their behaviors, I'm studying their uh, activities, and I'm trying to understand, you know, whether they can be upskilled or not.
Okay.
If people, like I said, the number 25 in 20 are coming ADHD and they're getting upskilled and they're working able to perform well without having a knowledge that they are a part of neurodiverse population.
Yeah.
So just imagine if we can, bring that concept to the people who are already aware that they have, any kind of disorders like ADHD, learning disorder. This is one more term I will use. These things, term also termed as two things. One is your learning disabilities and the disorders, and secondly, it can also be termed as developmental disorders because
Okay.
these all things are genetical and they start from your birth.
Okay.
Except one, which is dyspraxia. Dyspraxia is something when you met with an accident or when you underwent certain situation, and due to which you started having writing impairment. Rest
Okay.
all are genetical or any happens from your childhood thing.
Okay.
So when you identify those kind of things, in the past there was no way to identify and hire them. Now
Okay.
we have a particular proper procedure how to hire a neurodivergent people. So
Okay.
we have something called as traditional interview process and called as atypical review process.
Okay.
Traditional review interview process is like you and I are sitting. We will give certain tests,
Mhm.
and we will go off and based on your results, you will be selected or now, suppose I am a recruiter, I'm interviewing, and I see your certain scores. I see you have done extremely well in English literature and all, but you scored very poor in mathematics.
Yeah.
My mind will go that okay, fine, this person might be having a disability with mathematics numbers or something. I'll request a neuro recruiter. Another term, neuro recruiter is the
Okay.
person who will do a screening of the person's review, which is called as atypical resume review, and
Okay.
he or she will follow a funnel model where the person will actually do a neuro diversity test, proper test. It's like they will be able to identify this person has neurodiversity. What kind of member he is of a neurodiversity community. Could be
Okay.
one or could be combination. When we identify that, the interview process, one-on-one interview process will be designed as one.
Okay.
So this was something new which came up. Earlier, whatever your score used to be, that we used to be rejected based on the hardcore traditional interview process. आपको
Mm-hmm.
कभी रिक्रूटर की से निकलने के बाद इंटरव्यू या हायर मैनेजर के बाद बस
Okay.
वो पता ही नहीं चलता था कि इंसान को न्यूरो डाइवर्सिटी का मेंबर है या फिर उसको कोई ऐसा मेंटल हेल्थ या टेक्नोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम थी.
Okay.
So when we run a test, we find probably three things. One, a person can have neuro disability, मतलब atypical है. Two, a person can have psychological disorders which is temporary based on situation,
Okay.
not on a permanent basis. Or the person can have learning disability or developmental disorder. Now,
Okay.
when we are able to find that we are or we have physical disability, so we are able to find that कि okay हमें ये candidate मिल गया. अब इसमें we are seeing that other qualities which are related to our job profile is fitting or not. If it is fitting, then we will pick that candidate and we
Okay.
will hire. So that is called as atypical resume and funnel hiring process. ये एक बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स प्रोसेस है जो हर किसी को पता है. देयर आर ओनली फ्यू कंपनीज लाइक Amazon या फिर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट हुई या फिर दो तीन कंपनीज और जिन्हें पता है कि न्यूरो डाइवर्सिटी कोई चीज भी होती है, न्यूरो
Okay.
इंक्लूजन कोई चीज भी होती है. नहीं तो देयर वाज अभी we in India we ourselves are struggling to make people understand the concept of diversity. अभी डाइवर्सिटी लोग ढंग से अभी इतने अच्छे से समझ नहीं पाए. न्यूरो
Mm-hmm.
डाइवर्सिटी समझना is a very difficult challenge because they have very poor awareness. They don't have
Okay.
awareness. So any person who in your home एक बच्चा है, अगर वो किसी different तरीके से behave कर रहा है पर उसके marks अच्छे आ रहे हैं, तो parents ध्यान नहीं देते.
True.
The intellectual capability of a person is independent of neurodivergent condition the person is it.
Okay.
तो मतलब अगर आपका बच्चे का IQ लेवल 100 एज यू माइट हैव आस्क्ड, आपने मुझसे पूछा था कि मतलब एज अ पेरेंटिंग बच्चों को क्या ध्यान है, तो ये
Mm-hmm.
आपको ये चीज ध्यान देना, अगर ये सब चीजों में अच्छा है तो क्यों उसको ये प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही, क्यों उसको एडजस्टमेंट प्रॉब्लम आ रही. अल्लाह होता है तो इस सर पकड़ के क्यों बैठ जाता है, सर दर्द क्यों होने लग जाता है, इसको
हाँ.
दिन भर कान में हेडफोन लगा के क्यों घूमता रहता है. So
Oh,
those
okay.
things needs to be identified and observed by the young parent, because this is something which is a very young bimari. It's not a disease. It's a condition.
Okay.
Understand, medical illness and medical disorder are two different things. Medical illness is a temporary thing which can be cured and which जैसे
Yeah.
आपका ब्रेकअप हुआ या आपका हस्बैंड वाइफ के बीच में कोई प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, कुछ और प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, that is something, your mental health illness is there that can be cured. But disorder is something which you are dealing from the birth, which is genetical,
Okay.
which can be controlled, and and the person can excel in his or her life very
Okay.
well. So that is the concept which people should understand, and I started working on that. And I started working and started the concept since 2000, 18 or 19.
Okay.
2018 to 24. I didn't do any work. I started only read and studied because it was very challenging for me to gather information. Everywhere it was restricted platform. I was not having an, like I said, Disclosure Act did
Okay.
not allow me to
Yeah.
study. So only information I could get it from different books. Like one book I mentioned, and the second book was Neurodirective Edge,
Okay.
which is written by Willie. Then there was another book which is, psychometric testing by Marley. And like the different books I started studying and I started understanding कि इस तरीके से चीज होती है, and we have to do something for these people who need our support and help. And we can only do that when our people know about it. See, the knowledge in abroad is not a problem. The knowledge in India is the challenge.
True.
Because when we say that our child or our child has or our son or daughter has any kind of mental health issue or neurodivergent issue, or we have been referred to this XYZ doctor, first thing comes in a Indian perspective person is that नहीं पागलपन.
हाँ.
नहीं
True.
पागल नहीं. There is a very wrong myth about it. Mental health and disorder does not always mean that you are mad or you have there are conditions which can be dealt when they are kept in a better position. So that awareness needs to be spread, and I'm working on those lines.
Yeah.
The second thing which I'm working is there is another very famous word called as neuromarketing.
Yeah, true. So I wanted to ask you about that too. What is neuromarketing?
So neuromarketing is something आपने कभी लेंस कार्ड में शॉपिंग
Yeah. This glass is from Lens.
तो आप मतलब लेंस कार्ड में आपने देखा होगा एक काम होता है they scan your face and they pick up
Yes.
things and all and आपका पूरा चश्मा आपके फेस में कौन सा अच्छा चश्मा लगेगा and all stuff
Yeah.
through artificial intelligence. So this is neuromarketing. तो अगर
Okay.
मैं आपका दिमाग रखिए आपके सामने ऐसी चीज रख जो आपके जो आप चाहते हैं. So that is something I'm not playing with your psychology, I'm playing with your brain.
Okay.
जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक शॉप में ठीक है एक फॉरेस्ट की क्रीम उठाई ठीक है आपने एक फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन आपको पसंद नहीं आया आपने रखा और आप वहां से चले गए ठीक है एंड
Okay.
जब आप वहां से चले गए वो एक्सप्रेशन आपके कैमरा में कैप्चर.
Okay.
So the person who is a physiologist जो फेस स्टडी करता है वो आपके फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन पर देन देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज आई रेटिना स्टडी. तो आप जब किसी चीज
Okay.
को आप देखते हो तो आपके जो रेटिना होती है वो एक
हम्म,
रेट पे आप चलते नहीं
हाँ.
देखिए लेकिन वो
Okay.
प्रोटेक्शन
Okay.
एंड रिएक्शन होता है. अब वो कितने तेज तरीके से बंद और ओपन हुई उसके बेसिस पे लाइकिंग एंड डिसलाइकिंग की स्टडी होती है डिवाइसेस होते हैं पसंद नहीं होती है नहीं
हम्म,
तो आपने कभी आपको बॉडी में रॉन्ग नहीं पड़ा
हाँ.
ना
True.
तो वो रॉन्ग पे दैट इज अ हीट वे
Yeah.
उसका मेजर अगर आपने किसी को छुआ था मतलब रेट ज्यादा हुआ या कम हुआ उसके बेसिस पे दे विल बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड वेदर यू आर लाइकिंग अ पर्सन आइटम और यू आर नॉट लाइकिंग.
Okay.
then there have been called things called as voluntary study. सामने चीजें आके रखी जाएंगी सामने टेस्ट किए जाएंगे बेस्ड ऑन योर EEG का रिपोर्ट the person will be able to understand कि you're liking a product or you're not liking it. Then
Okay.
comes your CT scan, MRI, ये सारी जो मेडिकल चीजें हैं वो सारे आपकी ब्रेन के साथ लगाई जाएंगी एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट योर लाइकिंग है या डिसलाइकिंग आपका कंज्यूमर बिहेवियर किस तरीके का बाइंग पैटर्न क्या है वो सब पर आप किस तरीके के बायर हो इम्पल्सिव बायर हो स्टेबल बायर हो या किस तरीके के
Okay.
बायर हो ये सारी चीज आपके पास and based on that they will design something which is very automated process. जैसे
Okay.
अगर आप कभी वीडियोस देखोगे तो there's a shop called as Amazon Go पे.
You can just go and pick it up and pay without being on the queue. Is that one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
तो आप जाओगे आपने जैसे ये मुझे ये चीज पसंद आई मैंने यहाँ से कार्ट से उठाया और अपने बैग में डाल दिया मेरे कार्ट में आ
Yeah.
फर्दर ऐसे आगे के बढ़ के मैंने सारी चीज और अगर मैंने वापस डाल दिया तो मेरे कार्ट से माइनस हो जाए
हाँ.
एंड मैं देन आई विल मूव आउट ऑफ द मार्केट और मेरे अकाउंट से पैसे कट जाएंगे एंड
True.
अगर उनके पास डिलीवरी सिस्टम में तो सामान मेरे घर पे आ जाएगा या फिर आई विल कैरी द स्टफ फ्रॉम द काउंटर एंड
Yes.
देयर विल बी नो ह्यूमन अवेलेबल इन द entire outlet to take money or have an exchange पैसे का या कोई देना नहीं कुछ नहीं आपने सामान उठाया और वहां से चले तो कैसे बन advanced and
Okay.
बहुत ही ज्यादा user friendly. You don't have to carry chains, you don't have to carry thing. तो ये चीजें कैसे है because आपने facial studies पढ़ी दूसरी चीजें पढ़ी अब I am trying to do is that can a neurotypical can design these kind of things can a neurotypicals can survive in these kind of situation because नहीं पसंद है और noise नहीं automated चीजें कई सारी चीजें नहीं पसंद है कईयों को डिफरेंट चैलेंजेस हैं कईयों को नंबर्स नहीं पता हो अगर एक न्यूरो डाइवर्जेंट जो न्यूरो मार्केटिंग आपकी बहुत बड़ा मार्केटिंग सेक्टर बनने वाला तो अगर हम नॉर्मल चीज यू एंड आई बीइंग अ नॉन टेक्निकल पर्सन एंड हमें कोडिंग अगर बिठा के चलाने समझाने के पहले तो हमें थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा पर जब हम हमारे जैसे एटिपिकल लोगों को लेके आते हैं एंड जब उनको कोडिंग या ये सब चीजें समझाने या फिर उनको यूजर इंटरफेस में रखने की कोशिश करते हैं आप कोडिंग मत करो यूजर इंटरफेस पे काम तो क्या वो आर दे एबल टू सस्टेन आर दे एबल टू डू आर दे एबल टू पिक अप अ न्यूरो वेंडर एंड सो a marketer न्यूरो वेंडर इज समथिंग does all kind of researches and services. क्या वो ये
Okay.
चीजें करते because यहाँ पे न्यूरो सेलिंग नहीं होती. न्यूरो सेलिंग तो दिमाग बेचने वाली चीज होगी. तो यहाँ पे
Okay.
वर्ड न्यूरो वेंडर यूज होगा या आपका इंडिया ही ज्यादातर यूज होगा because आप
Hmm.
वो प्रोडक्ट्स को सर्विसेज को मार्केट कर या में स्टडी कर. सो क्या एक न्यूरोटिपिकल इंसान न्यूरो वेंडर बन सकता है? क्या वो ऐसी हाई फाई चीजों को मतलब
Hmm.
आगे जाके फ्यूचर बट क्या वो ऐसी सिचुएशन में सरवाइव कर सकता है? अगर कर सकता है तो ठीक है, अगर नहीं कर सकता है तो व्हाट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस should have so that they can work and learn. So
Got it.
those kind of things I'm working on, and I want that is something as a I, so that we as a normal people and a atypical workforce combine होके अच्छे से diversify model को follow करते हुए एक अच्छा productivity and quality market सके जो कि profit में जाए, है ना?
Got it. Got it. Oh wow, this is such a wonderful concept, sir. I mean, like, I will have to, like, I'll have to listen to it again when I go back and to actually absorb. There were a lot of things because the way you explain, I had this. What you can say, I can make it in my mind. I can make that image in my mind. How a neurotypical person, a neurotypical person is going to make this, and how does neuromarketing works, and how are different elements of all of it is going to combine well together. I think this is a very wonderful topic, and I would definitely want to do much more interviews with you on this because this is very intriguing for me. And I've never been this quiet. I'm a very talkative person. When in interviews, I like to play some anecdotes of my own stories. But I think this is something which has really taught me a lot. So like as we come towards a close, I would want to understand more from a perspective that how a neurotypical person can prepare well for an interview. What are the challenges they may face, and what is a recruiter looking in from a neurotypical perspective, and how as parents can like how parents can actually identify the strengths of their kids, and if they are neurotypical, how they can be identified at an earlier stage, so that the kid also does not suffer much, like they do not have their insecurities creeping them in because they feel that they are not enough. So how that can be taken care of?
So first, you have to understand a little bit of history.
Okay.
How these things started. So there is a scientist called as Asperger in
Okay.
1940s. He was a child specialist.
Okay.
He used to be with children all the time. Children, sorry, all the time. Found that there is a set of children behave different.
Okay.
And based on that, he started studying. No, these children were very close to this person. So this is the time of 1940s when this
Okay.
concept started. So when he started finding these things, when they are exposed to some kind of noise, some kind of challenges, their behavior patterns change. But like I was saying before,
Yeah.
so they behave a very strange pattern. So he designed a concept called as autism spectrum. So when the autism spectrum was designed, they found that in different situations, different way the people used these children were behaving. A set of
Okay.
50 questions were designed. So based on that, he was able to make a ASQ level. ASQ is autism spectrum question. And when it was found that the person whose score is less than 30, they have autism in that, and different levels of autism they have. So if it is from
Mhm.
21 to 22, mild level, 22, 25 to 30, severe level, and 30 and above,
Yeah.
nothing. Okay. So he found that these children were extremely good in technical.
Okay.
Similar study he studied for the IT sector and also private sector. With that, he was able to identify that these children, these were gifted people, and they are having a different condition which is not abnormal.
Okay.
So when ASU means autism spectrum questionnaire like that, it was designed. Like this, there were different questionnaires by different scientists were designed. So they let me tell you, these are all psychometric tests.
Okay.
So it is not necessary that if I give you a normal NT test and it turns out to be positive autism or positive ADHD or something like that, it does
Hmm.
not quantify or qualifies you you are a neurotypical. Based on your
Okay.
psychometric test, your brain scans and other things will be done. And if it is
Okay.
found that there is a part in your brain which is called as bufa, if it has an infection or something like that, that means you have some kind of learning or developmental disorder.
Okay.
So, psychometric testing supported by obviously your CT scan and medical reports will let you know that the person is having a condition or a
Okay.
person is having a disorder. Having a
Okay.
condition is different from having a disorder. For example, if you have a
Okay.
young
Got it.
kid, if you have a young kid in your house and the kid is very active, full of
Uh-huh. Yes. Yes.
and when you
Hmm.
identify that, after identifying this, you consult a proper neurophysician who will give you proper tests and also clinical psychologist who will help that kid in a counseling session how to cope up with a condition and how to cope up and live with a disorder. Both
Okay.
are different but look same. अगर जिसको
Okay.
disorder होगा उसको conditions तो होंगी, but जिसको condition है उसको disorder. But दोनों की
Disorder. Okay.
counseling processes अलग होंगे. वो clinical psychologist.
Okay.
आइडेंटिफिकेशन न्यूरोफिजिशियन या फिर जो न्यूरोलॉजी के जो डॉक्टर्स रहते हैं, न्यूरोलॉजिस्ट होते हैं, वो आपकी स्कैनिंग है जो भी टेस्ट जरूरत होगी उसको
Hmm.
लेके they will be able to identify and then आपको एक certain time एक clinical psychologist के साथ so that the person will be
Okay.
training you how to live uh, properly and with dignity with having these problems inside. First is acceptance. Many
Okay.
people do not accept. There is accepting कि मेरे
Yeah.
बच्चे को हो सकता है या ये हो सकता है. If you see like
Hmm.
again I'll take an example of Tarzan कि मतलब when
Yeah.
Amir
True.
Khan comes to the kid's
Then
house,
only they are able
they
to
are not able
accept
to
it. Yeah.
accept and the way
Agreed.
person the
Yes.
father was behaving कि मतलब तो सब पागल हो गया ये
बदमाशी कर रहा है.
बदमाशी
हाँ.
करने का मन नहीं है तो when he picks up an item
हाँ.
which is Japanese या कुछ language में लिखा होता है
Chinese. Yeah. Mandarin.
some
Yeah.
foreign language में लिखा
And
है and the person
yes.
fails to
Yes.
study and the same statement is
Yeah.
passed by Amir Khan. Another very good
Amir Khan. Yeah.
example is the Good Doctor. If you've seen the series, The Good Doctor, where is it from?
Yeah. 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 Good doctor Sean Murphy.
Yes, the doctor is
Dr.
autistic
Sean
and he's
Murphy.
an
Yeah.
excellent
Yes. Yes.
doctor, but
Yes.
somewhere
We can visualize.
visualizing,
Yeah.
but at some places he
Yeah.
fails to deliver because of his autistic. So
Oh,
when we are
yes.
able to identify and when we are able to, understand just what we are having these kind of people, we can create an
Yes.
environment which is friendly. Now, when you talk about
Hostile.
interview, sorry that I explained that
True.
much in the back, but that was it was
Yeah. Yeah.
necessary. So, for example, when when you found that the person has some kind of neural disability or is the member of neurodivergent community,
Neurodiverse group. Yeah.
so you will create an environment which is you will not conduct the group tests because the person will get scared.
Okay.
You will not have a
Yeah.
one-to-one session like you and I am having. Sitting together eye to eye. It will be a virtual session. It will be a something where the candidate is comfortable in giving interview.
Yeah.
Then
So, from a candidate perspective, I wanted to ask, how a candidate can prepare well.
I'm coming
Like,
on
what
that.
is?
Candidate
Yeah.
has to meet up to the basic scenario which needs for the job description.
Okay. Okay.
Candidate has two choices. Whether the person coming for interview discloses that I have his
Hmm.
interview process will be a neurodivergent and atypical interview
Okay.
process will happen. He will not be thrown to the normal general population the way you
Hmm.
or I get into. there is a specific recruitment process. If the company has a diversity concept and they are hiring these kind of people population, they will have specialized tests and specialized recruiters who specializes into this.
Okay.
So we will be, introduced to that set of environment where a person who is highly trained in dealing with such kind of candidates will be there. The person will be making sure that the environment is friendly to that person. It will
Okay.
be a noise-free place. It will be a desk-crowded place. Group discussions will be not there. Too much of maths will not be there. A lot of chat box will be used. Of place things will be used which will help a person in answering the question. Many of the
Okay.
neurotypicals are not explanatory people. Like if you ask me a question, I will give
Okay.
you an explanation to a one sentence or two sentences or three sentences like
Yes.
that. A neurotypical person, many of that are very less, especially the
Okay.
autistic people. So if you ask
Got
an
it.
open or open-ended question, there the person may not be able to explain you well. So it is very important to
Got
the recruiter to ask a close-ended question. Okay.
Okay.
So candidate needs to understand the job description very well. So for example, if there is a person who has, have a calcularia problem, means uh, he's not good for with numbers and all, and he has
Okay.
mathematics issues, and he or she is going for an accountancy job. Do
Mm-hmm.
you think that the person will be able to survive? No, he's not. He or she is not
No.
good with the
True.
numbers. So
Yes.
the person, like
Yeah.
same thing. Like if you're applying for suppose a job, say it's a very good directorial job, and you not having any experience of software engineering, you apply for that. Even if
Yeah.
a person hires you, will you be able to work on that? No, you have not done anything on
No.
that. You have no experience
True.
on that. The same thing goes
Mm-hmm.
for a neurotypical person. What he or she is applying. What see, the recruiter may not be knowing it, or they may be
Yeah.
making a mistake. But the candidate should know whether he or she can do it or not. So that is one
Okay.
thing the person needs to identify, because here the things are so advanced, my friend, that you cannot pick it up. वो आएगा.
Okay.
अगर आप disclose नहीं करते हो, you give a interview in a random population, and if a company has a neurodiversity diverse population in them, they will identify you very easily that you have some kind of
Okay.
there's something wrong, different with you. Not wrong, I'm sorry. You are
Yeah.
different. So they will then again send you there. And then there they will find it out that you're not good with numbers, you have this kind of problem. Then you will be rejected and you feel you will be. So it is very, very
Okay.
important, because the same thing will happen with you, because you are a salesperson, suppose, and you
True.
apply for a
Yeah.
technology where you have more knowledge of how Python works, or how Anaconda
Mm-hmm.
works, or how any kind of coding works. So you will get failed, all right? And if you will get
True.
failed,
True.
and you will
Agreed. Yeah.
you will get disappointed. So
Yeah.
that will create a negative motivation. You get demotivated. So why to introduce
True.
yourself by yourself, by your means that I'm not good for it. Apply for jobs for which you are capable of with your limitation.
Understood.
So whenever for a candidate, I will always suggest, whenever a neurotypical person is going for an interview, study the company. There is on the internet. Are they having
Yeah.
neurodiversity concept? How many? What is the percentage of neurodiverse population in them? There's Facebook, Instagram. We can connect with any of the peer, with any of the company member who who
Yeah.
is having a knowledge of neurodiversity. Can ask that कितने लोग काम
Okay.
करते हैं, कैसे लोग काम करते हैं, do a brief check, and then based on that prepare an interview. Secondly, for the recruiter and for the person as a candidate, a neurotypical candidate, is very important to articulate yourself very. If
Got it.
suppose you
Yeah.
have ADHD or you are dyslexic, You have to articulate, boss, I cannot write well. I have a problem. My handwriting, is not good. You will not be able to understand because I am dyslexic. Okay. So
Yeah,
you have to articulate. How will I get to know that, until unless I see your handwriting, which will not make any sense to me.
true.
So then I will say, आपने
Yeah,
ये क्या लिखा है? आपने S की जगह N लिखा है, N की जगह U लिखा है. So I will not be able to understand. And the person
got
says
it.
that
Yeah,
you are dyslexic, then the typhoid will come. Typhoid in the sense decoder. उनको ट्रेनिंग होती है कि ये dyslexic person ने इस word की जगह ये word use. They will be able to decode
okay,
and they will be able to read it and understand. So your interview process will be better and experience will be better when you articulate it very well. You have this condition. Based
understood.
on that, that specialized person will come and address. I hope I
Okay.
answered.
Yeah. I've got it, sir. Like I've got it. And so, like, it's been a really wonderful conversation, Dr. Philora, and got to learn a lot. And this is, I would say, one of the most enriching conversations I've had so far of talking to people and understanding a lot of things. And this obviously adds to a lot of things that I can talk to people about. And I'm really, what do you say? I'm at a lack of better word. I'm literally what do you say, sensory overload, not sensory overload, information
Sensitive
overload is the
one
word I would
saying,
say.
sensitive person
Information
negative feel
overload.
रहा
Information overload is the word I would say
वो भी
in
negative
that
लगेगा
scenario. And it
भाई.
is,
That will also go negative. So, like, overload of thing is, and when you say overload, that will always go in negative form. But in this
yeah,
language,
I agree, but this I'm saying it in a good way. In terms of this, there are too many new things I've learned. If I have to put it better way, in a more detailed manner, there are too many new things that I've learned. Some things which I have not known existed. Like a term like what is neurotypical person, what is neurodiversity, how like see, I knew what Lenskart does, but I never knew that it was called neuromarketing, and that is a very I would say I'm
neuromarketing
like
blended
totally.
with AI.
Yeah, neuromarketing blended with AI, and this is just too astounding to that all of this is going on in and around us, but we do not know how it is happening, why it is happening, how they are enabling it, and how much it is in our own psychology, on how it's more rather than reactive, it has become more proactive. That they are actually what do you say, estimating on what we are going to do, and decisions are being made on that. And I think that is truly astounding and mind blowing, to be honest. And to hear it from someone who has been doing it for years and years, out of curiosity to understand and know about more new topics, it's truly mesmerizing also at the same time. And I feel really nice. I feel very happy, when I get to learn new things. And today I've learned so many new things, and if I have to say, it will make me sound a bit cool in the circle I'm going to go and meet people around. And I'm definitely going to use a lot of things that, do you know about neuromarketing? Because, I've done my MBA and very little
I'll tell you
was taught
two
about.
more new terms. One,
Yeah.
one is, and neuro investment is also.
Okay. I think once we put it out and people know about neuro investments, in within 3 months, new courses on how to invest via neuro investment will go viral, I guess.
I'll tell you neuro investment
And
and दूसरा emotion investment. Emotional investment.
yeah, yes, emotional investment I have heard because I relate to it because I invest very emotionally on things. I never make same decisions, I guess.
For emotional
So yeah,
investment, people are very intelligent. I mean, if you use it the
yeah,
right way.
yeah. I cannot say I'm intelligent. People will be like, "Oh, he's self-praising." So I'm just trying to be a little humble, I guess. Yeah. So Dr. Philora, I think that one episode is not going to do justice. We'll definitely do more on different topics that we are going to do, and I will reach out again to you so that we can do more because I feel 1 hour or 2 hours is just too less to discuss such a good and a very diverse topic, as I have to say. But so with that intention, I would like to ask you if there are any words of wisdom that you have for the audience that is going to listen to this and crave for more, because I am. So like if anything that is there, if you would like to share with the audience.
I would want to say that two things. Whenever you see a person or a situation, ever judge.
Okay.
Do not judge. You do not know. Judging is something which can, destroy people like things. Instead of judging, analyze. So always push yourself. Tell me why. बचपन में एक किताब पढ़ते थे हम tell me why. साइंस की एक किताब होती थी
Yeah.
encyclopedia.
Hmm.
So ask always tell me why. If you see this person like that, tell me why. ये ऐसा क्यों होता है? Rather than judging or making a notion or making intuition, not intuition, I'm sorry, the wrong word, making a comment, statement, stating that कि इसके साथ ऐसा ही हुआ होगा, ये ऐसा ही. No, there are,
Mm-hmm.
the world is at a very fast pace.
Okay.
किसी को अपने experience के basis पे judge ना. And first principle of science is that on, not judge. Second thing I would like to say, read. Read a lot. Just give me a minute. I think my battery is a little bit going. I will let me put a charger
Okay.
on that. What
Yeah.
and sorry. Yeah. So, I will always say कि read good. Don't read something which is random or could be dicey. So choose your things wisely. What you, because there's so much things, so much content, so much books which can impact you.
Yeah.
आप पेरेंट हो, घर में छोटे बच्चे हैं, और मॉनिटर देम वेरी क्लोज. और छोटी से छोटी बात, क्या पढ़ते हैं क्या नहीं. इंटरनेट इज एक्सपोज सो मच, हर एक चीज की पढ़ने की तेज. अगर आप सपोज 6-7 साल के बच्चे को न्यूरो डाइवर्सिटी समझाने चले गए तो पर क्यूरियोसिटी बच्चों में इतनी होती है कि वो कोई भी रैंडम चीज उठा के पढ़ना शुरू. तो इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर पेरेंट्स टू सी कि उनका बच्चा पढ़ेगा, पर वो ये चीजें आनी चाहिए समझ. मेनी ऑफ द आर फ्रॉम एजुकेशन सेक्टर. ऑल्सो कोई टीचर होता है, कोई प्रिंसिपल होता है, कोई लेक्चरर होता है, कोई कोई कुछ कोई कोई और अदर एजुकेशन फील्ड में होता है, कोई आपके मेरे जैसे कॉर्पोरेट में काम करने वाले. तो उनको ये चीजें पता नहीं. ये चीजें एक छोटा सा स्टेटमेंट आप पास करोगे, आपके लिए वो छोटा सा स्टेटमेंट होगा, अगले के लिए वो एक दिन नहीं, वो 3-4 दिन, 5-6 दिन उसके लिए वो डाउन हो जाए. So when you are dealing with a challenge, with this kind of situation, you have to be very careful how you behave and how you act. ठीक है, because चीजें ऐसी होंगी जो आपको हो सकता है irritate. You know that this is a condition. You cannot react in that. एक ऑटिस्टिक इंसान हो सकता है कि एक चीज को 10 बार, sorry, नॉर्मल इंसान इरिटेट हो सकता है. एक ओसीडी का इंसान है जो कि सफाई फ्रीक इंसान होता है सपोज. तो अगर उसको सफाई नहीं मिली, उसको जम के पैनिक अटैक्स हो जाएंगे. दैट पर्सन कैन हैव अ कार्डियक अरेस्ट. अगर उस चीज को नेग्लेक्ट करता वैसी सिचुएशन करोगे तो दिस इज नॉट अ गुड. So you have to be very responsible to the society and see that and understand and pick up. सामने से आके इंसान नहीं बोलेगा कि मुझे ये प्रॉब्लम या दूसरी प्रॉब्लम. So do not act the way other acts. Be different. So there's something called ना ably disabled. वैसा नहीं होना. Because ably disabled लोग कई जगह इसको पॉजिटिव सेंस में लेते हैं, मैं नेगेटिव सेंस. ably disabled यानी आप ये बोल रहे हो कि मैं अच्छे से डिसेबल. You do not आप उसको शब्दशः हिंदी में करके देखो ना, ably disabled, मैं अच्छे से डिसेबल हूँ. हम ये थोड़ा सोसाइटी को मैसेज देना. So we want that if you see somebody who's challenged, having a challenge, or you just better not have to sympathize, you have to empathize.
True.
Understand that there is a difference between sympathy and empathy. Never sympathize with a person, who have these kind of challenges, so that they are very good. You might have no idea how high IQ level they have, what they can do.
True.
So empathy is far better than sympathy. So avoid doing that. Treat them as your peers. Treat them as your normal. And अगर कोई situation life में आती है तो आप उसको empathize करने की. तो 2 things मैं हमेशा लोगों से कहता हूँ कि आप कभी judgmental ना हो. दूसरा, sympathy नहीं empathy दिखाओ. तीसरा, अगर लाइफ में अगर कुछ भी सीखना है या क्या है तो आपको this statement which my teacher taught me, that unlearn to learn a new learn. अगर आप किसी चीज को नया को पुरानी चीजें, बिकॉज अगर आप उस चीज को आगे तो आपकी नई लर्निंग में आप, मैं जैसे आपको कोई चीज आपको बता रहा हूँ और आपको आधा अधूरा, तो एज अ पॉपकॉर्न बीच बीच में यू विल से समथिंग, इसके ऐसा भी ऐसा. वो ऐसा नहीं होना
Yes,
चाहिए. So you have to forget everything what you know in your past, and when you're learning something new, learn as a baby mind, fresh.
got it.
तो
Yeah.
वो चीज है तो आपकी लर्निंग इज और अच्छी होगी, and you will be able to present yourself in a less complicated and problematic way. नहीं तो
Yeah.
मुसीबतों में फंस जाओ.
Got it, sir. That makes a lot of sense, I guess. I think that is something which I'll keep up with me. I always try to take something from every conversation that I have, and I think that is the last point. That is something that I'll always take. That always unlearn when you're trying to learn something new, and unlearn the old ways to learn the new ways, I guess. Dr. Amit, it's been a pleasure to have you with us today. This was a very enriching conversation, I would say. Really learned a lot, and definitely we would try to do a second part of it, where we go and delve much deeper into the individual topics that we have discussed today. It was a pleasure to have you with us today, sir, and really looking forward to have another conversation with you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It was a pleasure to have you
Take
with us.
care. All right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, 1 second,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah, no, please. It will take some time. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to M Square Podcast. Today, we have with us a very special guest, Dr. Amit Phillora, and we are very pleased to have him. So, please welcome Dr. Amit Phillora, who is a seasoned professional with around 15 years of experience as an author, counseling psychologist, subject matter expert, and he's a poet too. So, he's currently serving as a senior specialist in one of the leading MNCs, and he excels in handling escalations and providing support. He also holds certifications in project management and mental health counseling, among others, and he has delivered lectures at prestigious institutions such as the Aurora